What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel on this beautiful Sunday, and we are here for the newest episode of our Madden 20 Realistic Rebuild series. Today, taking a look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers, we always need to make a note right at the beginning of these rebuilds of the starting points, because it's some teams who want to start before the draft, so it doesn't feel too much like a Madden 21 rebuild. Other teams, like Pittsburgh, who didn't have a first-round pick, we are actually using their current rosters. These are the rosters as of May 24th of 2020. So we are going to be doing essentially a brand new, whatever the Steelers are going to look like for the 2020-2021 season, rebuilding them for 10 years. So as we get through this, guys, we always get it from now on start up by saying, if you guys are enjoying the Realistic Rebuild series, please hit that like button. For whatever reason, literally it's night and day when I look under the hood at my analytics. Videos that get lots of likes do significantly better than those that don't. So if you guys are enjoying the series and you guys like the stuff that's for the content on the channel and you guys are getting ready for Madden 21, hit that like button. Let's take a look here, though, at the roster. We're starting out as an 81 overall. Pittsburgh is a very interesting team. Like, this is the reason why they have been the most requested team in the comments. That's why we're doing it. They have question marks at, to say the best, at quarterback. We have Ben Roethlisberger, who is, solid. I like Ben Roethlisberger. I own, for whatever reason, a Ben Roethlisberger jersey. I don't know how I came to own that, but I do, and I do enjoy him. He is, if I had to list my top 5 quarterbacks in the league that I like versus me just trying to rate the top 5, he's probably in it. And we throw Eagles players out the window. I'm trying to rate my top quarterback. Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson. I would probably say Ben Roethlisberger gets put right in that top 5 fairly quickly. Obviously, everyone likes Mahomes. If I had to round out that top 5, I don't know. Tua, maybe? It's just guys that I'm pulling for, guys that I hope do well. Either way, though, Ben Roethlisberger, he's 38. Mason Rudolph, concussed permanently. You got Duck Hodges. You got Paxton Lynch trying to save his career. Either way, the whole point of this rebuild is like, we're going to run Ben Roethlisberger into the ground, and then we need to draft his replacement. How soon do we need to draft his replacement? Probably fairly quickly. For these, I'm still maybe a week away. No, you know what? No, screw it. Today we'll do it. We'll use my draft classes. I think I'm ready to unveil them. I'm very protective of my work. Like when I say that I'm releasing PC classes, that's what I can control. It's not like console. We'll do it. For this year, we'll do the 2021 draft. And then after that, we will just go back to the Madden generated classes. So, is this going to be a Justin Fields? Are we even going to be bad enough to draft a Trevor Lawrence or a Justin Fields? Or we have to look for second tier options. Trey Lance, guys like that. We'll have to wait and see. Who knows? Ben Roethlisberger can throw for 40 touchdowns. And it could be paired to the team that he's still got another year or two left in him. I don't know. It's Madden. His regression is going to suck because he's 38, 39. But that's our quarterback situation. At the running back spot, what we got here is James Conner. We don't have injury sliders. We turn those off for realistic rebuilds, which is good. I'm a huge fan. I mean, how can you not pull for this guy? Old school style running back. I mean, for Pittsburgh, he's as close to the thing you guys are going to have since, the bust, Jerome Bettis. Unfortunately, he's had some injuries, which is brutal. I hope he can stay healthy because, again, from a neutral, I really do like the Pittsburgh Steelers. If I'm looking at it like I have to find a team that I consistently like in the AFC, it's probably Pittsburgh. Again, I'm not going to give a definitive answer, but they're in the discussion. They got another power back in Benny Snell who dominated at Kentucky. They got Jalen Samuels who actually came in as like a tight end hybrid. They got Anthony McFarland out of Maryland. They have a lot of really solid running backs here. I'm thinking, I don't know if it's still the kid. What are they looking at tight end? I forgot they got Ebron at like a very reasonable deal. Because like I said, we could probably move Jalen Samuels to tight end, or we can make him like a fullback or something like that. Let's see what happens if we make him to a fullback, just to see if we can get more snaps. I assume fullback is on the field a decent amount. There he is, a 77 fullback. We'll make him our fullback. But yeah, got a lot of great running backs here. Wide receivers, we have Juju Smith-Schuster, who is an 86 superstar. Again, another player. I mean, we've had memes with him on the channel back when he was at USC. We made him Juju Smith-Kelly. So, I mean, he is, I don't know. I have no problem. And then we got James Washington of Oklahoma. You got Dante Johnson of Toledo. Ryan Switzer. Chase Claypool, the Canadian. Yes, sir. I think he was their highest draft pick. They didn't have a first because of Minka. I think their first pick in the 2020 draft was Chase Claypool. Love that. Insane athlete. Pretty much, we should be drug testing these athletes coming out of Notre Dame. They're using the power of Jesus and hunchbacks and all those different things and art museums in France to make some insane athletes. There's some sort of science experiment going on there because you've had it's one after another. Every year there's one guy from Notre Dame that just doesn't make sense. And this year it was Chase Claypool. So, I mean, we got a lot of talent at wide receiver. As you can see, 24, 24, 23, 22. The age is great. They even had Deion Kane. There was a point in time when he was at Clemson that everyone was thinking he's going to be a first rounder at wide receiver. Then he got hurt and went to the Colts, and now he's found his way to Pittsburgh. At tight end, we got Eric Ebron, who's 27. It's not, we can work with that. We can work with 27 for at least the first part of the rebuild. Basic Donald, stiff arm heard around the world. Offensive line, we have Alejandro Villanueva, but he's 31. We have Wisniewski. That's actually a fairly low rating on Wiz, who's got 2 Super Bowls now with the Eagles and the Chiefs. He's a really solid guard. Pouncey, one of the best centers, Florida Gator buys, but he's 31. David DeCastro, really, really good guard. He is 30. And at tackle, that's not particularly great. So the best lineman on Pittsburgh, it is a change in the guard. We are going to have to rebuild a Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line that for the better part of the decade has been a top 5 offensive line in the National Football League. Defensively, we have Stephon Tuitt, 87. We got Cam Hayward, one of the best 3-4 defensive ends in the National Football League. Definitely top 3. I'd probably put him in that conversation. He is a 31, 90 superstar dev. But the age, man, it's the age. This is kind of an old team. Pittsburgh is going to be a tricky rebuild. They're one of those rebuilds where it's like, we're probably never going to be bad, but the rebuild's going to become almost more about like winning a Super Bowl quickly because there's going to be that extra tough rebuild coming 2-3 years in when all my veterans are going to be either super expensive and like in the low 70s because it just regressed so bad, or they retire and I got to replace them. Defensive tackle, no more. Javon Hargrave went to the Philadelphia Eagles, so they're definitely going to have to replace him. I don't know. We probably have to draft one. We have TJ Watt, who it's still one of those better, I knew something better than you because I did reactions to all the picks 3 years ago, and I said TJ Watt to the Steelers was insane value, and Steeler fans hated this pick. They absolutely hated picking TJ Watt. It was beyond me. I thought he was a perfect fit, and he's been really, really damn good. I would say at this point, top 10 edge rusher, top 10 outside linebacker. I mean, he does it all. It's weird to call him a straight up edge rusher because I feel like he does it all. But that is obviously the scheme. We got Devin Bush and Vince Williams. Hey, no more. I mean, obviously, you're pulling for the guy, but no more Shazier in the rosters, at least. Let's be honest. I've almost come to a point to despise Ryan Shazier just because he's in Madden rosters, and he's always, like, really, really good. But inside, obviously, Devin Bush, hopefully, with that superstar, can develop into one of the fixtures of this defense. Him and Watt, for sure, at 22 and 25. We need them to be here for a long time and continue to get better. And then we got Bud Dupree, who kind of had a breakout year last season. He's an 80 overall, 27. Got paid. They got Alex Highsmith in the draft. I think we're good at linebacker. Linebacker's one of the spots we are definitely good at. In the secondary, we got Joe Hayden, more Gator buys. Steven Nelson, Mike Hilton. They're solid. It's a solid secondary, but we're probably, when we can, especially, in the drafts, in the Madden drafts, rounds 1 and 2, usually have a lot of first-round true talent corners when you're using the Madden generated draft classes. We're probably going to have to burn a couple of those to improve the second. Just get a little bit younger because these are those weird ages where, like, none of these guys are top-tier talents in terms of development. We got Star Dev, Normal Dev, and Joe Hayden's in the 30s, and he's a Normal Dev. So, got to get some corners maybe with higher ceilings. So, let's see if we can find some of those in the draft. Minka Fitzpatrick was unreal down the second half of the season after they traded for him from the Miami Dolphins. He was debatably, I think, the defensive player of the year for the second half of the year. Unreal player, unreal value. I think it's few and far between when you see big blockbuster trades that involve first-round picks that pan out. Like, you would argue, the Texans are no further ahead with Tunsil than they were with those first-round picks. It was, now looking back in retrospect, not an amazing trade. It is what it is. But then you look at a trade like this, I think 99% of Pittsburgh Steelers fans would rather Minka Fitzpatrick than that first-round selection. Strong safety of Terrell Edmonds. He's young. That's about it. He's young, and he's kind of cheesy from a height, weight, speed standpoint. The depth chart's not amazing, but I do tend to find that safeties that have normal devs that start, he will probably have 3 to 4 dev trait scenarios pop up during the regular season, so we should have him at least up to a star year 1, year 2, somewhere in that range. And I do like the pick of Antoine Brooks out of Maryland. I think he's really underrated. Special teams is fine, so that is it. That is the preview of the roster. Where are we going to go? I don't know, but all you need to know is that we will be using my realistic draft class for 2021. That's it, and then we'll pop out to the Madden generated. But this is a team we can't really think about that. We can't think about next offseason trying to rebuild. This is a team, talent-wise, we can definitely make the playoffs in year 1 of 5 here in part 1 of the realistic rebuild. So let's go and do that. Just want to show you, you just seem like a smart ass and that I know Madden franchise. We are here week 2. We just got a little upgrade here for Devin Bush. And look, a breakout scenario for, guess who? Terrell Edmonds. Shocked. Absolutely shocked that has popped up at this given point in time. And if he fails it, probably 2 more times this season. So here are my current, as of literally I think 3 days ago was the last time I updated, draft class for 2021. I feel good about it. I feel like this is pretty much where we need the draft class to be. And here's where, for the quarterbacks, there's some really nice ones. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Alan Bowman, Jamie Newman, Kyle Trask, Tanner Morgan, Brock Purdy, all those guys, first 3 rounds have upside that if we drafted, we could probably try to develop them. I'm looking at value here. I mean, quarterbacks tend to slip. I will take any 3 of these guys. Trey Lance, he's been a guy that's gained a lot of momentum following in the footsteps of Carson Wentz as a North Dakota State quarterback that could sneak into the first round. And we've yet to do a rebuild. Jamie Newman, transferring from Wake Forest to Georgia. Kyle Trask could be, and I say this as a Gator fan, that's unbelievable. I think it's literally going to be one or the other. There's no in between. He's either going to be the next Joe Burrow, or he's going to be the guy that we just want Emory Jones to play over as a Gator fan. You probably don't know who that is, but if you do, you know you know. If you know, you know. But those are just the quarterbacks. We got Jamar Chase, P9 Sewell, Greg Rousseau, Certain, Sean Wade, Rondell Moore, Kyle Pitt. It's a good draft for tight ends. It's a good draft for defensive tackles. Jalen Waddle, good draft for running backs. It's just a good draft. Next draft class is going to be a fun one. So I'm pretty pumped to that. If you are on PC, join the Franchise Football Discord and you can get these draft classes yourself. Now let's continue with year 1 of the realistic rebuild of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Shocked. Absolutely shocked. Another kind of cool in here, week 5, and it's a losing effort against the Eagles, but James Conner has gone from star to superstar. One of the few times we actually get the sim to achieve that. It was a high-scoring game. James Conner got the job done. Superstar running back. So we're here at the bye, 3-4, little disappointing. Bottom of the AFC North, really disappointing. But I mean, it's not so far gone that we can't. 3-4, you can win enough games to sneak in the wild card. We've seen 8-8 teams beat way better teams in the wild card. We also have a breakout scenario. I think this is James Washington. Yeah, it is. 150 yards. It'd be nice to get 2 superstars. We got James Conner. It would be nice to throw in Mr. Washington. Look at the defense. We got Cam Hayward here. What's our salary cap? Our salary cap is not amazing. Could be better. Could be worse. Well, James Conner's got to get our first. We want him to reach 30. Nice. And then Juju would be the second option. He's premier wide receiver. So outside of that, let's see. Bud Dupree, too much money. Villanueva, too old. Mike Hilton, that's expensive as hell for a corner, a slot corner. Joe Hayden wants a 1 year. He's going to regress down to the 70. I think we can probably afford to pay Cam Hayward 3 years. Should hold on to his rating fairly well. Even when he regresses, should be like mid-80s. So we'll come back to the table with Cam Hayward, but we are going to need a complete retooling of the secondary and offensive line in these first couple off seasons, as well as obviously the quarterback position. Honestly, kiss my ass then. Give him 3 different contracts. Bye. Dude, we got to 8-5. And then we just lost the last 3. Who knows where we would have got. Look at the stats here at the end of year 1. Ben Roethlisberger played fine for almost a 40-year-old. But the end is near. The end is near. James Conner was 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns. Snell had 8. The rushing attack was satisfactory. No 1,000-yard receivers. Claypool had 7 touchdowns. That's pretty cool. Defensively, Devin Bush, real nice season. 100 tackles, 8 TFLs, 2.5 sacks, 2 picks, 11.5 sacks for Cam Hayward, who basically gave us the middle finger on 3 different contracts. All of them were very reasonable offers. Felt like it was already determined that he wanted to bounce. Joe Hayden had 5 picks on the season, even though he's very old now and regressed. That's hell of a year. I love seeing that. I love seeing that. If that's his final year, going on top, right? Tannehill is your MVP. Cam Newton on the paint. Can't just ignore who won the MVP because it doesn't make sense. But for our team, for Pittsburgh, do we have anyone that showed up here? Devin Bush, number 7, Defensive Player of the Year. And then for the rest of the individual awards, we didn't have anything, but, we're not going to be picky. It's year 1. Let's just get it out of the books. Let's have a really strong draft. So for our first free agency, we're actually going to try to spend a little bit of money. So we obviously, with the big loss of Cam Hayward, we made a couple other small cuts on the defense. Cam Hayward's gone. Joe Hayden's gone. Our secondary's going to look a lot different. We got rid of Vince Williams. He had an expensive contract. I think that's really the Vance McDonald's gone. But we're also going to spend some money here. We're going to try to get some value. We got Charlton as a punter, Reggie Ragland, Monte Nicholson. But we're also going to spend a little bit. John Allen, former of the Redskins, we're going to try to get him to be the replacement for Cam Hayward. We'll move him outside the defensive end. And J.C. Jackson, formerly of the New England Patriots. I mean, those will be 2 huge gets. Obviously, J.C. Jackson, a competitive offer from the New York Giants. Hopefully, we can land him. Come on. I mean, Mike Tomlin, he's a DB background, right? And then John Allen would be a massive get for this defensive line. Just less holes that we would have to address in the draft. Trey Lance. There you go. We can't get rid of Ben Roethlisberger for 1 more year because his contract is still a massive hit. He pretty much has to retire. But Trey Lance, 69 hidden dev out of North Dakota State. The Bison, 91 throw power, tremendous athlete. This is now the Trey Lance rebuild. Draft recap time, and obviously we had the Trey Lance pick at pick 15. 69 with a hidden dev. Second round, we got Ben Petrula, who plays pretty much everywhere on the offensive line for Boston College. He's a 71. He will be currently penciled in as our right tackle as a scheme fit. We got Palaye Gaetiate from USC. Very good chance to be linebacker 2 along with Devin Bush, 70 overall. We got Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech, 68 normal dev, one of the better college corners, pro football focused darling. Looks pretty solid. We got Lorenzo Neal, John Michael Smith, 64 in the 7th round. And our only player below a 60 overall, Levi Onwuzurike from Washington. But he is a scheme fit as a 3-4 defensive end. But this is ultimately going to be the Trey Lance draft. Don't know how much he's going to play as a rookie. We still have Ben Roethlisberger for at least 1 more season, but he's the future. So year 2 here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going to take a traditional approach for a rebuild. We're going to give Big Ben half the year. And if it looks like at the halfway point, we're not doing nothing, we might as well slide in Trey Lance because it is going to be his team. In terms of changes on the rest of the offense, not a lot. Skill position players remain the same. Ben Petrula, our 2nd round pick, will start at right tackle. Dodson here, who was a mid-round pick in 2020, will be our starting left guard. Okorafor, it's not your traditional Steelers line. Only Pouncing DeCastro remain, but it's still, if you took the average overall, it just looks like an average offensive line. Defensively, this is where we spent a little bit more money. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna slide Jonathan Allen to defensive end. Then I have no idea who's gonna be my defensive tackle, but we're not gonna have an undersized D tackle like that. We have J.C. Jackson, who was our other big get in free agency. He will be starting at corner 1. We have Nelson and Farley, who was a very solid draft pick. That is going to be our secondary. We got Edmonds and Fitzpatrick there. As far as the linebacking core, Gaetiate, never going to pronounce that right, and Alex Highsmith, 2 new starters in the linebacker. So, we are slowly transitioning. You can see that rebuild starting to begin with all the new faces on this team. So I have no idea what my expectation. My expectation is we're going to be bad, and we're going to get Trey Lance on the field at midseason here in year 2. We have a fairly early bye here with Pittsburgh. We're 2-2. It's the year's. Okay, we'll sit with this one. If we beat the Ravens, Big Ben will play. If we lose to the Ravens, Trey Lance will play now versus waiting a little bit longer. And we lose. So there we go. Big Ben, it's time to transition into, you pretty much were banged up last year. That assistant, that guru, that mentorship role. As we fall to 2-3, it's pretty much a write-off. Look at a contract. We have DeCastro I firmly believe he'll hold on to his rating fairly well, so we'll make sure we can get him. TJ Watt, franchise player on the defensive side. Ebron's solid, but there's just no way to justify paying a 28-year-old who's on the cusp of starting to regress 5 years. I do not want to get locked into 5 years. We can get Pouncey on 2 years. That makes a little bit more sense if he wants to take that deal. We definitely have some tough decisions coming up. We didn't pick up the 5th-year option on Edmonds, but we most likely will just... I just didn't want him on that high salary cap for one season. So we'll get Edmonds locked up. We'll get I want to have Jalen Samuels in the building still. Clearly, James Washington is worth that mid-range money. He should develop into like a mid-80s. But other than that, man, got to make smart decisions with our money. Even though we have a lot of money, we got to make smart decisions with it. And at the end of the year, too, pretty much the same result with a different quarterback. 8-8 is where we did. The good news is that Trey Lance came out with a superstar dev trade. So we're replacing a superstar dev in Ben Roethlisberger with a superstar in Trey Lance, who probably by this point would have 2 FCS Heismans, I assume. Obviously debatable dev trade to get out the grade, but that's where he is. That's what we're working with, and we're ecstatic to have him under center. Even though, we've seen time and time again, doesn't necessarily mean what your dev trade is. It means what you can do on the field. We've seen like a 35-year-old, 74 star dev Matt Stafford go for 40 touchdowns and lead his team deep into the playoffs. And we've seen 95 overall X factors, 7-9. So we got to put it to work. It doesn't matter what you got unless it translates on the field. So looking at where our team was at here, statistically outside of a little bit of a write-off year, at least we get to the Madden Generate draft classes, which should help us retool that offensive line just a little bit. Trey Lance played the last half the season, and statistically not amazing. Obviously, you can't look at the rankings because he didn't play a full season, but kind of on the mark for Ben. Big Ben, even though the wins and losses were where we want, 12 touchdowns, 2 picks is not bad. We got 12 touchdowns, 4 picks for Trey Lance. Completion percentage is up from Ben Roethlisberger. 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns for James Conner. I think he is going to be maybe the most consistent player for this rebuild. Trey Lance, 7 touchdowns. So he played, I don't even know how many games he played, but I'll take that. Dual threat. Try to stop this team. We got 10 touchdowns, almost 1,000 yards for Juju. Defensively, over 100 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 3 picks for Devin Bush, 8 sacks Stephon Tuitt, 7.5 TJ Watt. Satisfactory numbers. We're the number 8 offense, and defensively we are 12th. We're right in it, man. This is still a solid team. Yearly awards MVP went to Deshaun Watson. As you can see now, Justin Fields came in at 5 in the MVP race. Trevor Lawrence came in at 4 in the MVP race. And the optics of it, we got Trey Lance, the 3rd quarterback. Didn't make it, even though he played well. AFC Offensive Player of the Year went to Deshaun Watson. Defensive Player of the Year went to Myles Garrett. Devin Bush coming in at number 5. Offensive Rookie of the Year went to Trey Lance. Cool. He already has the dev trade, but cool will not take that. Caleb Farley coming in at number 4. Gatiate coming in at 6. Quarterback Lamar. For the rest of the individual awards, unfortunately, we had nobody. We're still in a little bit of rebuild. Let's get into year 3. Okay, so we're here for free agency. One bit of news. We kind of waited a little too long. Edmonds wanted to play for a new team, which is frustrating because we did get him go up in a dev trade. But it's only a 5 overall point difference, and Monte Nicholson, age similar, and he's going to be like literally a 10th of the cost. So I feel like at this point, if there was no bids on him, I'd try to bring him back. But that is just way too much money to pay for a guy that I think's kind of almost at his peak. But we are going to spend a little bit of money here. We got 2 available players. David Njoku's kind of looking for a little career resurgence here. It's seemingly like the Cleveland Browns are giving up on their 1st-round pick. They brought in Austin Hooper. They drafted like 2 tight ends in the draft or something crazy like that. So we got Njoku here, and then Vita Vea is here for the nose tackle spot. Absolutely. We love it. I think he's the best nose tackle in the National Football League. All right, we split it. We didn't get Vita Vea, who else I'd rather of the 2, but we got Njoku at a position of need. So draft recap time. 1st round, we went with the safer pick. And we got a guard that's going to start for us day 1. No dev trade. Keelan Hicks out of Vandy, 78 normal dev, 93 strength. 41 reps on the bench press, was all A's for his skills. We did, however, skip a wide receiver. We don't need wide receivers, right? But it was just like clearly the best prospect was a wide receiver, and it was Barry Hutton out of Oklahoma. He's a 74 hidden dev. I already peaked it. It's pretty good. He's a superstar, which would, I mean, again, we don't need wide receivers for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but, you know, when you get out of that mindset of drafting BPA, sometimes you miss guys that could be future studs. We did get Jameek McMillan, who's going to have to move into middle linebacker for our scheme. Maybe. I mean, he could be, honestly, a power rusher. He has good block shed, but he is a hidden dev. He was a mid-round first talent, projected to go in the third round, so we got him there. We got Bagley, 60-70 tackle. We got a 71 guard, 69 guard, and a 65 fullback after we lost Jalen Samuel to free agency because he just wanted way too much money for a fullback. So it's a really, really solid draft class. I would love to have McMillan be like superstar X Factor or something like that to make up for the dev trade on the wide receiver we passed on. But I think Hicks is going to be obviously develop into a nice lineman, and we might have something there in McMillan out of South Carolina. 3 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're an 81 overall team. Checking the offense here. We got some special players. We got a late signing, just a veteran tackle. We're one short on the offensive line here. So we got Dwayne Brown, the veteran, formerly of Seattle. Hicks, our first-round draft pick, will be starting at guard. Petrula solid. We got Njoku in free agency. James Conner went up dev trade. He's now a superstar X Factor. He hit that based upon his performance last year, making his second Pro Bowl. I mean, he's been the most consistent player on offense, but was not expecting Juju Smith-Schuster to go up because I don't know how he got it. He didn't even have 1,000 yards last season, but he did have 10 touchdowns, so, you know, it still was a good year. And obviously, within the algorithm, I think if you're a top 5 wide receiver between yards and touchdowns, you go up dev trade. So maybe it was just a down year across the board. I will take that. On the defensive side, still trying to find our identity here. We have Tuitt and Allen defensive end. Carlos Davis at D tackle. No real changes to the secondary outside of Edmonds leaving the team via free agency. Nicholson will be starting. We have Watt, Bush, Gautiate, and McMillan. Jameek McMillan will be getting the start at right outside linebacker, a second-round pick out of South Carolina. So we're going with some youth here, but it's now officially the Trey Lance era. And because Ben Roethlisberger and all those guys are gone, we actually have a decent amount of salary cap to build around Trey Lance while he's on this rookie deal. So I'm expecting year 3, year 4, year 5. We're going to make a big push for a Super Bowl here in the remaining 3 years of the rebuild. We're here about the midway point. Need to showcase this off. McMillan is your second round pick. 3 sacks here in week number 6. And I was like, oh, okay, that is kind of what I want to see. I was like, oh, let's go spend his points here. Okay, I've been spending, you know, he's not going up a whole lot overall because we had to make him a scheme fit. He was a power rusher, not a speed rusher, but a speed rusher is what we need in the scheme. But we're going up a lot because he's superstar dev. Let's go. Coming up from the bye, we're 4-3 in the first true year of the Trey Lance era, and oddly enough, the AFC North is the best division in football, apparently. 4-3 is tied for last, but it's going to be probably the runner-up, also gets a wild card spot. And we're only a game behind the Baltimore Ravens, even though the Browns sit up there on the pedestal at 7-1. Contracts, you can see Minkah Fitzpatrick, absolutely need to get him here. We're going to give him a 5-year deal. He is much like TJ Watt, much like Devin Bush and others, the face of this the multi-face defense. So we're going to do whatever it takes to re-sign him. Okay, getting into some more of the depth. Ooh, I see a hidden depth trait there on Lyle Butler. I think we just signed him as a UDFA. 5-year deal, sure. Let's get him locked up. Justin Late saw that's just way too much money for a depth guy at this point. Because he could develop, what's it, 2 years? $2 million a year? 73 depth tray fit. He's 24, 25, 29. I mean, we'd have corner depth locked up. People, oh, nope. All right, you're gone. Bye. Benny Snell, unfortunately, don't need a backup. Johnson, just too many mouths to feed at wide receiver. Tuitt's an interesting one. That's a lot of money. Oh, I can't pay. I don't think I can pay that. I don't think I can pay that, especially with D linemen growing on trees in Madden drafts. So, yeah, we'll just make sure we get Minkah Fitzpatrick locked up, and that will be about it for this year's upcoming free agency class. And at the end of year 3, we get a nice momentum win in Week 17, 35-6 over our rival Joe Burrow in the Cincinnati Bengals. However, 9-7, still on the outside looking in. 9-7, it's our best record to date. We're slowly creeping in the right direction. But the AFC North has been an absolute dogfight since we have kind of started this. But on the offense, we have Butler, who is a UDFA. He's our new starter left tackle. We got him on a 5-year deal. He's a 73 star dev. The rich get richer in terms of dev traits. We have a lot of fancy. This might be like one of our best dev trait squads we've had. And again, we're 3 years in with no postseason success. So it's not all about dev traits. But if we can put it together, this is going to be a really, really scary team. As we had McMillan, who came out as a superstar dev, had 2 or 3 defensive player of the weeks. We got Minka locked up to a long-term deal. You look at this defense. We get a nose tackle. We get maybe a flashy dev corner. I think that'll be enough to put this team over the edge here. Look at the stats. Trey Lance, whoa, not great from a yardage standpoint. 31st in yards, 25th in touchdowns. Thank God he already has the dev trait because he doesn't look like he's going to be earning one based upon. I mean, that's not a brutal year. It's just not an amazing year. He did have 300 yards, 5 touchdowns, so it is 30 total touchdowns. That's probably your fringe. That's your cutoff of like, yeah, it's an acceptable year. Benny Snell ran the ball well. James Conner has been sensational so far through 3 years. Juju was fine. Njoku, fine, I guess, for the money. We did lowball him in free agency, I guess. Defensively, 133 tackles, Devin Bush, 15 TFLs and 5 sacks. That could be enough to get him another X factor. 11.5 sacks, Watt. 11 from rookie McMillan. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 2 picks, Farley, Jackson, and Minka. That's acceptable. Those are acceptable numbers, but offensively, not good enough. 25th offensively. We were 4th defensively, so we need Trey Lance to step it up. Absolutely needs to step it up, especially when Justin Fields has been in the MVP race both times he's been in the league, and obviously Trevor Lawrence doing his thing for Tampa. In the AFC Offensive Player of the Year went to Josh Allen. Defensive Player of the Year went to Mac Wilson of the Cleveland Browns. Devin Bush coming in at number 4. TJ Watt at number 8. McMillan is your Defensive Rookie of the Year. There's a chance. There's like a 10% chance he will get an X Factor dev off of that. That's about it for year 3 of the realistic rebuild. Let's get into the offseason here. We have a lot of salary cap still to spend. Maybe we can add another splash free agent. Free agencies, we gear up for year 4. Not a great free agency spot. You know what's bad when the only person we're throwing a bid on is a kicker. We need a corner, and there's no real big splash corner that we could look at bringing in. Enough so that like I want to look at the draft, look towards the draft for sure. We also need a nose tackle. None of those really that look like. Tristan Hill has the age, but there's no dev trait there. And you look at defensive end, you know. Tuitt is the best guy. The guy that we let walk is the best guy. Cleveland Furl's there. He's kind of interesting, but there's already a big bid in there from Denver. So I think at this stage, it's best just to we'll get a kicker and then hopefully have another great draft. So far, we've drafted very well. We got to continue with that. Draft board. I need a nose tackle. I need a defensive end. And I need a corner. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 first round. I mean, obviously, it might be just in the 70s or no dev traits, but 4 first round talent corners. And we got a bunch of D linemen that can be shuffled all around. But the pick is this guy. Look at that. Combine, the stats. Vince McClain. That's a DN right there. There's your replacement, Stephon Tuitt. Come on. 77 dev trait? 78 dev trait. Number 2 in true. This is just, we are killing and crushing the draft. So he's probably going to end up being a star that knock us off our high horse. But that is one hell of a prospect. So draft recap time. I pretty much made look at that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that are coming in at least a 70 overall for the draft class. I actually simmed out after the Cedric Stevens selection. Dev traits are not amazing, but they're solid prospects. We got a 70. We got another 70 with a hidden dev. Martin Cruz out of LSU, scheme fit. Obviously a little undersized to be a nose tackle. We got a 70 corner. Another 70 corner. We got a 71 D tackle, Carl Day, and obviously the big pick is going to be Vince McClain, who we're going to move to defensive, and he's going to take over Stephon Tuitt. But a really solid draft, 2 dev traits, and good base ratings. Let's get into year 4. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we are obviously trending very much in the right direction. 84 overall, 85 offense, but this is where we need to see Trey Lance. 30 touchdowns is what he's at. I want 40. I want 40. Take your game to the next level. Changes on the offense, none. This is the exact same starters we finished the year with last season. Outside of maybe the backup running back, we're going Anthony McFarland as Benny Snell hit free agency. Chase Claypool also might have a chance to break out a little bit more. He's almost an 80 overall. Flipping to the defense, though, this is where we had a little bit more changes. Cruz is going to be an undersized D tackle in this scheme. McLean will be a defensive end taking over for Stephon Tuitt. Devin Bush is now a superstar X Factor as he has been dominating. His stats have kind of warrant the dev trait upgrade as he got it after making the Pro Bowl last season. No other real changes in terms of dev trait, but it's still a really, really solid. If one of these guys can be something better than a star, we're going to be looking pretty here in year 4. Well, the first kind of surprise, Chase Claypool. He is our starting slot wide receiver, so he should get a lot of touches and targets. But hey, he went up star dev. Beautiful. Bye week here in year 4, 6-3. Still not first place in the North. Tied with the Rams. It's been really, really a dogfight every single season so far in this rebuild. Contracts, we got Devin Bush. Pretty much we'll pay him what he wants. He has been amazing on the defensive side of the ball. It's been, Devin Bush on defense, James Conner on offense for just like automatic, impressive results. John Allen, yeah, if we'll take that 3-year deal, and that's not too big. Claypool just went up a dev trade, so let's see if we can get him 4-year, $25 million. Keeping that Canadian economy strong. 1 year for Pouncey. We do not have his replacement just yet, so we'll see if we can hammer out a deal there. Nicholson actually has been solid this season, so I'll take a 3-year deal. Keep him until he's 30. Outside of that, we do have Shaquem Griffin, but that's just way too much money. He's just here for a payday. Everyone is, but he's just here to play 1 year on a really good team, then get paid more money in free agency. He's like a mercenary. So we'll come back, give Pouncey a slightly bigger offer, but if we can't come to an agreement, it's not that big of a loss. It's more so the name value than anything at this point. But great business so far from the Pittsburgh Steelers in year 4. At the end of year 4, we finally made the playoffs, and we got a first-round bye, 11-5, so we can go to the old Excel spreadsheet that I keep track of all my rebuilds and put a little 1 in the divisional title column. Our first divisional title, 4 years in, 11-5. We got a bye. Let's just find out who we're taking on first before we look at the stats in the divisional round in the AFC playoffs. It is going to be, the Bengals, divisional rival. Okay. See who the best team is in the North this season. Statistically, Trey Lance, definitely better. 4,000 yards, 31 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. What is he? 7th in yards, 9th in touchdowns. Don't know if that's definitely just on the outside of getting him a depth chart. Look, James Conner, man. Unreal. James Conner, 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns. What? 6 and 8 from Trey Lance? So Trey Lance finished with almost 4,700 yards and 39 touchdowns. Okay, and 9 times. What a rushing attack from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Juju, 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. Nice year for Claypool, 807. Defensively, 96 tackles. Gatiote, well, I don't know why he has better numbers than Devin Bush, but that's just where we're at. Sacks are pretty damn good for a 3-4 team. Interceptions are fine. Taking a look at the yearly awards, MVP went to Trey Lance. Yes. I mean, that era, that's like this is become like the greatest quarterback class ever. Lawrence and Fields have been on the MVP list like almost every year since they got drafted. Trey Lance won the MVP this season. Thing of beauty. Absolute thing of beauty. Nice. Offensive player of the year went to Trey. He's getting that X Factor. He's going up to an X Factor. We're going to have an X Factor quarterback. James Conner, number 10 in offensive player of the year. Defensive player of the year went to Kenneth Murray. Rookie of the years, McLean, our defensive end, coming in number 1. James Conner is running back of the year. He already has the X Factor, though, so he can't go up. But we have the MVP. I guess we should just see our offense. We're the number 1 offense. Let's just keep that in mind as we go through the sim. Number 1 offense, and it does not have a defensive rating for us for some reason. Oh, the number, because we're number 1. We have number 1 offense, number 1 defense, an MVP quarterback, and we're playing a team that's a game above 500. This is going to be fun, huh? Come on, man. Don't want to be negative today. Today's been a great day. It's been a beautiful Sunday morning. Don't make me hate you. Don't put me in a bad mood. I'll be honest with you. Even if we just go 1 and done in the playoffs, we win, 1 win and done. I just want to win. Just give me at least 1 playoff victory with the MVP quarterback and the number 1 offense and the number 1 defense. That's all I'm asking. Is that too much to ask? Please, for the love of God. I'm getting ready to go make a nice barbecue supper You know, it's a great day. The weather's nice. Don't ruin this. Just don't ruin this. And it's looking pretty solid so far. We got a nice lead that we're not going to give. Thank you, Madden. Thank you for giving me something nice. Now have your way, I guess, in the championship game. But Trey Lance out-duels Joe Burrow. Very nice. Almost 100 yards for James Conner. Professional result from the Pittsburgh Steelers as we move on to the AFC Championship game. Okay, so the Super Bowl is on the line. It's Steelers versus the Jags. It's a pretty solid Jags team. Come on, they're a Florida team in the snow. We should have all the advantages in the world. And we're a run-first team. We are a team that has unreal stable of running backs. And there's just instant touchdowns coming left, right, and center. We used up all our Madden karma, apparently, to get past the 9 wins. We're the #1 offense, #1 defense. We can't get any points, and we're giving up a 40 bomb. I mean, we could make it interesting in the second half. Defense is fine. Our team's finally starting to play like how they're supposed to. I'm coming in. We're going to play this. We're playing this drive. We're going to tie this up. We're going to help with this. If I can get a touchdown, the sim has to get the 2-point conversion. That will be our little negotiation here. Of course, they got white uniforms. Oh, they're using my, what do you call it? Let's go. They're the Warriors. I have the Warrior mod still on. So they're the Jags, but they got the, oh my God. And we get the 2 points. And we get the stop. And we go all the way down the field. We kick the field goal. And we're going to the Super Bowl. The Steelers have beaten the Hawaii Jacksonville Jaguar Warriors. Let's go. Super Bowl bound. One hell of a, come on. Trey Lance versus Gardner Minshew. Almost 200. Look at that. James Conner. Insane stats. Let's do this. Here the Super Bowl. If I do have my gripe, it's that our quarterback did not go up a dev trait. I have Juju Smith-Schuster had less than 1,000 yards. And he went up from superstar to a superstar X Factor. Trey Lance was your offensive player of the year, passer rating leader, MVP, and he didn't go up a dev trait. Super Bowl, we got the new Cam Newton against Cam Newton's old team. Panthers, Steelers. I would love a Super Bowl victory here. Come on. We got no points. How did we walk away with no points? We're on like their 2-yard line. We're on their 3-yard line. Finally, we kick a field goal. Jesus. 2 drives that we've been within the 10 of Carolina, and we have 3 points to show for it. Carolina got a safety. Oh, this is ugly. Things, after not getting a dev trade here, things have gone drastically downhill. But there we go. We got our first touchdown in the game. We're playing. Oh, we got a chance to tie this one up. Oh, of course not. Come on. Come on, tie it up. 3rd down will come in. 3rd and 6. Let's see what Trey Lance can do. We will go shot, fade, cross. I don't think I've ever ran this play in my life, but it looks like it's pretty favorable for Juju Smith-Schuster. If our O-line holds up. Whoa, what is that play? How did that happen? How did Juju go from going 5, 6, 7 yards into a slant to somehow getting pushed in like a screen pass? Huh? That's the worst play call of all time. That is the worst play call of all time in the Super Bowl. How do you fail to execute a play that badly? Okay, so we have a final free agency period here before we get ready for year 5, the final year of part 1. And literally, there's not one upgrade to any position unless it's some old veteran. So we're not signing any free agents. Man, I had so many picks. It was such an awful draft. I made 2 picks, and that was the only green that we had for the first 2-3 rounds. We simmed it out, got a lot of 50s. Appreciate that, Madden draft. I mean, they did hook us up with our starting left tackle just through the grapevine. That's fine. But we got a 70 here. Bruce Barnett out of Toledo. He's a scheme fit. And James Conner is 29, about to be 30, so kind of need to think about life beyond him. We got Leslie Jamison out of Florida State, 77. Very much a compliment to James Conner. James Conner power back. This guy here, speedster, 94 speed. So it's a good 1-2 punch as we get ready for year 5. And in the final year of part 1 of the Madden 20 realistic rebuild of the Pittsburgh Steelers, year 5, we are standing before you at 87 overall team. We got a quarterback that should rightfully be a superstar X Factor, but he's not. But we have 2 other X Factors, which lessens the blow just a little bit. Njoku, the offensive line looks solid. We got Pouncey coming back for 1 more year. Well, definitely one of the better offensive lines. We've rebuilt the offensive line. Pittsburgh maintains that reputation of being able to pound the rock at will at their opponents. Claypool and Washington would love one of those guys to go up a dev trait, but 2 stars and an X Factor could be a lot worse. Defensively, McLean and Cruz had hidden devs last year. They both came out as starts. It's fine. Beggars can't be choosers. Still looking to find, a lockdown corner. It's kind of been a committee. Minka's been a beast. Our linebacking core, 3 out of 4 are special dev traits. So I can't complain. This is still, top to bottom, a really, really solid team, and definitely should have a chance to make it back to the Super Bowl here in year 5. We put in year 5, 5-2. I mean, the Browns are looking really good, but we're also looking really good. We're in a great position to make the playoffs here and at least have a chance in year 5. Contracts, this is where, tough decisions come. Because these are guys, do we really want them for the remainder? Like Farley, he's been kind of disappointing, but I don't know. He's a scheme fit. That's a reasonable contract, so we'll see if he'll take that. He wants more money. Kiss my ass. Gatiote's been solid. Linebackers tend to not grow on trees in drafts. Again, wants more money. Ben Petrula's been a solid right tackle, 4-year deal. Hey, he understands loyalty. Washington, replaceable, honestly. He's replaceable at the end of the day. J.C. Jackson's been solid. 1 year, $11 million for the corner market is probably not great, and he wants more money. What about DeCastro, hey? Try to keep on some of the old guard here, and they want more money. Jesus Christ. Farley can kiss my ass. We'll try and renegotiate with Giote. And I think we'll give another offer in for J.C. Jackson to cash, but only 1 more. If they don't want more money, not the Steeler way. Go somewhere else. At the end of year 5, we're the ugly team that made the playoffs, 9-7. We have DeCastro wants to give it one last hurrah. I don't know if that's actually going to be able to carry a team. I hope so. He's been here forever. Their general manager wants to give us some morale. Sure. Why not? We'll take... Oh, he doesn't even give us any, so I guess that sucks. We're taking on the 8-8 Mahomes and Chiefs. Interesting, to say the least. Looking at the stats this season, I don't think we had any... No, we didn't have any dev traits to worry about. Lance, 3rd in the NFL in touchdowns. 37 touchdowns. 75% completion percentage. I mean, that's the big trait with Lance, is that he's a true dual threat coming to North Dakota State, but he's insanely accurate. They do not put him in a position to make, risky throws, but he still has very, very good accuracy. He's playing well. Only 2 touchdowns this year, though. But look at that. 7 for the rookie. James Conner continues to be amazing. Juju, 912. Acceptable numbers. Defensively, 111 tackles. Devin Bush, 3 sacks, 2 picks. 7.5 sacks. Cruz and Allen and Watt getting involved. Interceptions down a little bit. We have the number 10 offense. We got the number probably 10. Oh, 14th defense. So on the outside looking in, Ezekiel Elliott is your MVP. In the AFC, Kenny Hawkinson, Kenneth Murray just keeps winning. I think he's won it every year. I don't think we're going to have any Steelers making this. No great standout performances, but that's fine. We had the MVP last year, and at the end of the day, didn't get anything. So we're going to kick things off here. Run the gauntlet of the wild card against the 8-8 Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, Trey Lance, Patrick Mahomes. The poster boy versus FCS royalty. Kansas City gets the first touchdown, 7-3. Our offense is just kicking field goals, but our defense has held Mahomes in check for the first half, keeping our stagnant offense in it. But look, they see Kansas City, they've been sleeping, and they just get touchdowns. They find a way to score tutties, and we're not doing nothing. Just, hey, can we kick a couple more field goals? I'd appreciate that. Hey, we do get a touchdown. My sarcastic analysis has motivated my team to just be incredibly flaccid on offense. And in the biggest moment here, nothing. Just nothing, man. 12 points for 90% of the game. a quarterback that has 75% completion percentage throughout the regular season, and then the playoffs, 50. I guess, credit to Kansas City. They found a way to get us out of our game plan of our quarterback being accurate, and he was just inaccurate, and we lost in year 5. Where, did we have a divisional title? We didn't even get that. We have one divisional title and one MVP award through 5 years to kick off the realistic rebuild of the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll be back probably Tuesday for the follow-up episode to see what Trey Lance can do from year 6 through 10. But at least we got a superstar. We replaced Ben Roethlisberger and debatably have an upgrade. He's not an X Factor. He deserves to be an X Factor. But, hey, job security. Thing of beauty. Got some job security there. So we could even suck for a year or two and we shouldn't get fired. But that'll do it for me today, guys. Trey Lance on the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's been pretty weird. Ups and downs. But wait, we've already got an MVP. We've made the Super Bowl once. I think we're going to be able to get this thing done and chuck it up as a successful rebuild in the final 5 years. But that does it for me today, guys. As always, smash that like button if you're enjoying the realistic rebuilds. Your first time stopping by, hit that subscribe button. We're very close to 130,000 subscribers. And I'll catch you guys back here on the next one. I think tomorrow we'll be having another episode of Flashback Pinks. And then we'll follow up with the finale of this Steelers rebuild on Tuesday. Till then, peace out.